5 weeks of building something in a specific order. Stillness first, the body learning not to generate movement. Then contact, the conscious eye making first contact with the body it had been living outside of. Then the new observing center, cross-frequency coupling, the breath and the heartbeat held simultaneously, the relating between them noticed for the first time. Then authority, the deciding tip discovering it is the sky, not the weather. Then somatic presence, the conscious eye traveling region by region through the body, inviting the relational activity to resume. Each week built what the next week required. This week uses all of it at once. What it is used for is the most subtle practice in the series. Not the most demanding, subtle. The distinction matters and will be explained before the practice begins. Come to the edge of the chair. Find the posture. Weight slightly forward. Feet flat, hands settled, and the spine alert, alive. The length of it from the base through the crown. The spine stays. This week in particular, the spine is not optional, not because the practice is physically demanding, but because what is being trained requires full wakefulness. This is not rest. This is the most awake you have been in any session. Close your eyes. Feel the breath arriving, without your instruction, without your effort, as it has been since the first breath this body ever took. The gift arriving continuously, whether or not you are watching. Feel it. Now stop. Consider what has been established. From the first chapter, you traced chains of dependency and found they must ground in something that exists without depending on anything more fundamental. From the second chapter, you found the patterns, universal, mathematical, exact, revealing that reality operates according to consistent principles across every scale. From the third chapter, you follow the logic to its conclusion that the necessary foundation operates as life, consciousness, love, will, and intelligence, supremely, infinitely, without limit, because nothing stands outside it to function as a wall. 3 chapters, logic built on logic, discovery built on discovery, and then, at the end of the third chapter, something changed, not what was established, how it has to be held. That is not a small thing. What was established is not small. The necessary foundation exists. Logic demanded it, and there was no exit from the conclusion without denying the premises. It operates as life itself, consciousness itself, love itself, will itself, intelligence itself. Not barely sufficient but infinite, without ceiling, without limit, because nothing stands outside it to constitute a wall. All life everywhere throughout all time and beyond time. The source of everything that has ever existed or will exist. The ground from which every thought, every feeling, every act of love, every instance of awareness continuously derives. And then, having established all of that, the argument reached a door and stopped. You have not understood the foundation. That is not a failure. It is a structural feature of the position you are in. What you have understood is how the foundation must act, how it must function relationally toward creation in order for what we observe to be the case. This is genuine knowledge. The deductions hold. The logic was sound. You can know real things about how the source operates, and those real things are worth knowing, worth building on, worth examining for the rest of your life. But what the foundation is in itself, prior to all creating, prior to all relating toward creation, in the self-subsistence that requires nothing outside itself, exceeds finite comprehension necessarily. Not because it is concealed, not because the logic ran out, because finite cannot exhaust infinite, because the derivative cannot encompass the non-derivative source from which it derives. This is the permanent structure of your position. It is not a limitation to be overcome by better thinking or more advanced practice. It is the appropriate shape of being a creature in relationship to a source that infinitely exceeds you. And this is not a theological preference. It is a logical necessity, not from the moment you establish that a first cause must exist, from the moment you establish that you exist. That is the more immediate starting point, the most undeniable fact available. You are here, aware, contingent, finite, dependent. You did not cause yourself. You did not choose to exist. You arrived in existence already underway, sustained by something that preceded you and continues to exceed you at every moment. And now apply the law of cause and effect, not as a philosophical argument, as the most universally observed regularity in all of reality. Nothing comes from nothing. Every effect has a cause. This principle underlies all of science, all of logic, all of experience without exception. It does not stop applying at the edge of what is convenient. You are an effect. Something caused you. That cause preceded you. The cause is always prior to its effect. The effect cannot produce what produced it. The effect cannot exceed what generated it. The effect cannot comprehend the totality of its own cause from the position of being that cause's effect. The law of cause and effect applied to your own existence is sufficient. You need nothing more than that. The moment you acknowledge these two facts together, that you exist and that cause and effect is the structure of reality, the via negativa follows immediately. Not as a theological proposition, not as a conclusion reached after careful argument, as the direct consequence of the most basic and undeniable facts available to any mind anywhere. The derived cannot exceed the cause that generates it. The finite cannot exhaust the infinite. The expression cannot equal the ground from which it is expressed. The contained cannot comprehend what contains it. These are not conclusions reached after a long argument. They are already present in the fact of your existence, present from the very first moment of awareness that registered its own contingency. The argument built in the previous chapters did not establish something new. It made explicit what your own existence already implied. The logic simply named what was structurally true from the moment you first noticed you were here. You exist. You are derivative. You cannot exceed your own derivation. The rest follows. Feel the breath for a moment, the body here, this room, the awareness that is registering these words right now. Here is what makes this precise. You are not observing any of this from outside. Think about what that means. You are not a neutral observer standing apart from the foundation you have been studying, examining it through a clean window, unaffected by what you see. You are a derivative expression of the foundation you are attempting to understand it from a position of continuously deriving from it. Consider a sunbeam. A sunbeam is genuinely sunlight. It derives entirely from the source from which it streams. It carries the properties of light. It illuminates, it travels, it bends through glass, It warms what it touches. It is not pretending to be sunlight. It is sunlight, genuinely, real. But it is not the sun, and if you cut the beam from the sun, if you severed the connection between the beam and its source, the beam does not dim. The beam does not weaken gradually. The beam vanishes instantly, because the beam was not a thing that stood independently and was connected to the sun. The beam was a continuous expression of the sun, sustained moment by the source it derived from. The moment the source stops expressing it, it is gone. That is what you are. The conscious awareness reading these words is not a separate thing that happens to be connected to the foundation. It is a continuous, moment-by-moment expression of the foundation sustaining it, genuine as the sunbeam's light, distinct as the beam from the core, and continuously deriving from what it will never exhaust. You are the sunbeam attempting to understand the sun while being sunlight derived from it. Feel that for a moment. Not as a thought about what you are, as what you actually are right now in this chair. The light is real. The source is beyond the light. Let that land before the next image arrives. There is another way to see the same thing. Think of an onion. Peel away the outermost layer, the visible surface, the conscious awareness reading the sentence. Beneath it lies biological intelligence, organizing trillions of cellular operations, entirely without conscious oversight. Beneath that lies the field activity maintaining the precise conditions that keep the biological layer coherent. Beneath that lies the operational foundation from which all of it emerges. Each layer is real. Each layer is part of the whole. Each layer depends absolutely on the layers beneath. Remove any single layer, any one, and everything above it ceases. Not gradually, instantly. You are the outermost layer of the onion, attempting to understand the layers beneath, while being part of the whole. You cannot step outside the onion to examine it from above. You are it, attempting to understand itself from its own outermost expression. There is one more angle that makes the temporal dimension of this precise. An author writes a book. The book has a timeline inside it. Characters age, events unfold. One thing leads to another. The plot moves from chapter 1 to chapter 10 in a specific sequence, but the author does not age with the characters. The author is not bound by the plot sequence. The author can turn to page 1 or page 400 at will. The author can revise chapter 3 while chapter 7 already exists. The author can perfect the ending before the middle is complete. The book's time is inside the book. The author operates outside it entirely. The author is not somewhere else spatially, not in another room while the book sits on the desk. The author is the source of the book's entire existence, including its internal timeline, from a position outside that timeline, greater than the book. Not by distance, by the difference between author and authored. Space-time is the book. The foundation is the author. The distinction between past, present, and future, the before and after, the cause and effect, the sequence of events that makes history possible, is inside space-time. It is in the book. The foundation grounds space-time from outside it. From our position, inside the narrative, inside the timeline. The foundation appears to act sequentially, before and after. That is the perspective of characters in the plot. From outside, the whole manuscript exists as a complete unity, every page present simultaneously, the author engaging any point freely without being inside the sequence. This resolves something that otherwise seems paradoxical. If the foundation sustains creation moment by moment, isn't it inside time? No more than the author is inside the plot. The author sustains the book's entire existence, including its internal timeline, from outside that timeline entirely. The characters experience sequence, the author does not. And when the author engages a particular page, revising a sentence, perfecting a scene, the engagement is real. The author is genuinely present to that page, and the author is not bound to that page, is not limited to it, does not arrive at it sequentially from the page before it. The engagement is real and atemporal simultaneously. That is the temporal dimension of the limit. Now the spatial one, the one that names the structure most precisely. Imagine a being that exists in a world of only two dimensions. Flat. It can move left and right, forward and backward. It has no experience of up and down because up and down do not exist in its world. It is intelligent. It has mathematics, it has science, it has a complete understanding of its two-dimensional reality. Now a three-dimensional sphere passes through its world. What does the two-dimensional being see? It sees a circle. The circle appears from nothing. It grows. It reaches maximum size. It shrinks. It vanishes. If the being is a careful scientist, it maps the circle's appearance precisely, tracks its size at every moment, charts the mathematics of its expansion and contraction, develops equations that predict exactly how the circle will behave. It knows the circle completely, but it does not know the sphere. The circle is the cross-section. The sphere is what produced the cross-section. The two-dimensional being has perfect knowledge of the cross-section. It has no possible access to the sphere, because the sphere requires a dimension the being's entire existence does not contain. And here is what matters. The being cannot even form a concept of the sphere. It can be told the word. It can do the mathematics. But the actual experience of what sphereness means, the felt sense of what a third dimension is, cannot enter a two-dimensional mind. The structure of its existence does not contain it. And notice what the being is doing. It is not failing. It is not unintelligent or spiritually undeveloped. It has perfect, meticulous, mathematically precise knowledge of every cross-section the sphere has produced. It simply exists in a dimensionality that structurally cannot contain the next one. The limit is not in the quality of the instrument. It is in the category. You are the two-dimensional being. What you can know, the cross-sections, the operations, is what the foundation expresses as it passes through the dimensionality of creaturely experience. Life, consciousness, love, will, intelligence. These are the circles you can trace, the cross-sections, the expressions as they appear within the dimensions of created existence. Real, traceable, genuinely the foundation expressing. The circle is not a lie about the sphere. The cross-section is not a distortion of what produces it. The operations are genuine expressions of the foundation, and they infinitely exceed any creaturely experience of them. Every instance of life across all of time is not the operations. It is what the operations produce. The operations infinitely exceed the totality of their expressions, but they are cross-sections. The foundation itself, the logos in its fullness, the operations in their totality, infinitely exceeding every creaturely experience of them, is the sphere. What the being sees is real. What the being cannot see is the sphere. And essence, what the foundation is in itself, prior to all operation, prior to all expression, the ground from which even the logos emerges. Essence is the third dimension itself, not the sphere, the space in which the sphere moves, the dimensionality that makes three-dimensional objects possible at all. The being cannot conceptualize the sphere. It cannot conceptualize the sphere's medium. It is not even equipped to ask the question. That is where essence stands relative to creaturely comprehension. Feel the breath for a moment, the body here, the weight of it, the breath moving through it. This particular, derived, bounded, finite expression, in this chair, in this room, at this moment. The framework built in the previous chapters is a map. It traces real features, real operations, real relationships. It is accurate. You can navigate with it. You can trust what it shows. But the map is not the territory. There is a city that has been mapped with extraordinary precision. Every street, every building, every landmark, every distance correct. You can use the map to find any location, plan any route, understand how every neighborhood connects. The map is true, but the map cannot give you the smell of the place, the texture of the stone under your hands, the way the light falls through leaves in the early morning, the sound of a language you're only beginning to understand, the feeling of standing somewhere real. The map enables the journey. The territory rewards it. 4 things go wrong when people forget this. The first is mistaking the map for the territory. The concept of the foundation treated as the foundation itself. The framework built carefully and accurately, at some point no longer recognized as a framework. It has become the object of relationship rather than pointing toward the object. A right framework, treated wrongly, becomes an obstacle. You are in relationship with your understanding, not with what your understanding points at. The second is assuming your particular map is comprehensive. The error is not asserting that some maps are more accurate than others. That may be true. Logic and evidence apply here as everywhere. The error is the implicit claim that any finite map can be comprehensive. None can. No tradition, no framework, no understanding, however careful, however accurate, contains the infinite source it is attempting to describe. Parts of the picture are held in many places. No particular place holds all of it. The third is assuming the territory can only be visited in ways you already understand. New experience filtered through the old framework rather than allowed to revise it. The map held more confidently than the territory it was always supposed to describe. The fourth is losing wonder, treating the foundation as a problem that has been solved rather than a mystery you stand before. The reasoning was right, the work was good, but somewhere the wonder evaporated. And when wonder evaporates, what remains is the map without the territory it was always pointing at. A collection of correct conclusions with nothing alive in them. All 4 errors share one root, forgetting that you are the outermost layer, not the whole, mistaking your understanding, however accurate, for comprehensive truth. The remedy is not less confidence about what can be known. It is holding what can be known alongside an honest acknowledgement of what cannot be, both simultaneously. This is not a new discovery. Every serious thinker who has followed the question of the foundation to its genuine end, across every tradition, every century, every cultural starting point, has arrived at the same place, not by agreement with each other, by following the logic wherever it leads. The operations can be known. The essence cannot be grasped. Real knowledge of the cross-section. Appropriate humility before the sphere. The map accurate. The territory exceeding it. Everywhere. Always. In every tradition that took the question seriously enough to follow it past the point of comfortable answers. This should not make the argument feel smaller. It should make it feel larger. The deduction arrived at what centuries of the most rigorous thinking has arrived at from every possible direction. Not because they agreed, because the territory is what it is. Science does this. We know how gravity operates. Inverse square law warps space-time, accelerates masses. We can calculate trajectories, predict orbits, navigate spacecraft across the solar system. This is genuine knowledge, reliable, testable, true, but we do not know what gravity ultimately is. Why does mass warp space-time? What is the deep nature of this attraction? The operations are mapped precisely. The ultimate ground remains mysterious. Quantum mechanics, wave-particle duality, superposition, entanglement. The mathematics works. The predictions hold. Genuine knowledge. But what is fundamentally happening? Multiple competing interpretations, all matching the operational data, proposing radically different underlying realities. We know the operations. The essence is debated. And here, most personally, is the one that lands closest. Right now, as these words arrive, something is experiencing them. Billions of neurons coordinating in patterns, electrical signals cascading, chemical gradients shifting, information integrating across specialized regions. You can trace every pathway, you can map every connection. But why does any of it feel like anything? Why is there an inside to this process? Why is there something it is like to read a sentence, to understand an idea, to feel the particular texture of this moment? Why is the information processing not happening in the dark? This question, why there is an inside to this process at all, is not a defect of science. 50 years ago, a philosopher posed it precisely. There is something it is like to be a bat. Echolocation, darkness, the sonar image of the world, and no complete physical description of bat neurology, however detailed, however accurate, ever tells you what that is. The subjective character of experience cannot be captured in any objective account. That gap is real, it has not closed. There is something it is like to be the foundation, and we are never outside it to look. Operations knowable, essence mysterious. Same epistemological structure in every domain of genuine inquiry. Not special pleading for theology, the permanent shape of finite knowledge investigating what infinitely exceeds it. Feel the breath for a moment. The body here, the breath moving through it, the awareness registering all of it right now. Now the move that makes this week different from anything before it. You have understood the operations logically. The deduction was followed step by step. The container principle established that the foundation must possess life, consciousness, love, will, and intelligence. Not barely sufficient, not adequate, but infinitely. All life everywhere throughout all time and beyond. Consciousness itself, the foundational awareness within which every finite mind operates. Love itself, the infinite harmony of which every finite act of care is a genuine, derivative, unrepeatable expression. Will itself, intelligence itself. You have understood this intellectually. That is not nothing. The argument was necessary, and the understanding it produced has been shaping the instrument for weeks. But there is a difference between knowing a city from a map and standing in it. There is a difference between tracing the cross-section of the sphere and resonating with the operation the cross-section reveals. There is a difference between understanding correctly that you are a derivative expression of infinite love and allowing that understanding to generate the feeling it describes. Before the deliberate part begins, feel this first, not as a concept, as what is actually happening right now. Notice what it feels like to be here, not the thoughts about being here, the feeling itself, the quiet background hum of being alive, the subtle pressure of the body against the chair, the breath arriving and leaving, the particular texture of this moment, whatever it holds, calm, tension, openness, whatever is actually here. Now look at what produces that feeling. Right now, as these words arrive, photons that traveled 93 million miles in 8 minutes are striking your retina and triggering cascades of chemical reactions in your visual cortex. Electrical signals are racing through billions of neurons. Neurotransmitters are crossing synaptic gaps measured in nanometers. Mitochondria are converting oxygen and glucose into the energy powering this moment of awareness. Billions of interactions per second, a symphony of coordinated complexity so staggering it has no parallel in anything we have ever built. Just so you can read these words and think these thoughts, and you do not experience any of it as machinery, you experience it as feeling. Now zoom out. Beneath your feet, a sphere of rock and metal 8,000 miles across, its iron core spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, generating the magnetic field that shields you from solar radiation. Tectonic plates grinding, magma churning, weather systems cycling billions of tons of water through atmosphere and ocean, a thin film of life coating the surface. Trillions of cells, all metabolizing, all relating, all sustaining each other in a web so complex we have barely begun to map it. All of this energy, all of this coordinated activity, every moment. Zoom out further. That massive sphere is held in orbit by a ball of plasma 100 times wider, burning at 27 million degrees at its core. 4 million tons of matter converted to pure energy every second. The sun does not just shine, it roars. A continuous thermonuclear detonation 93 million miles away, felt on your skin right now as gentle warmth. Zoom out further. That roaring furnace is a grain of sand, one star among 100 billion in this galaxy alone. All of them wheeling around a black hole 4 million times the mass of the sun, warping space-time itself, holding the entire spiral of stars in its gravitational grip. 100 billion stars, a dance that has been going on for 13 billion years. Zoom out further. That galaxy, with its 100 billion stars, is as a pixel. 1 among 2 trillion in the observable universe. The numbers stop meaning anything. The scale breaks your categories. You cannot visualize 2 trillion galaxies any more than you can visualize infinity. Now stop. Come back to this moment, this breath, this body in this chair. All of that, from the quantum interactions in your neurons to the rotation of galaxy clusters, is operations. All of it is what can be studied, measured, traced, mapped. The cross-section, the circles the two-dimensional being can see, and essence, what grounds all of that? What precedes all of that? What the entire cosmic symphony of 13 billion years and 2 trillion galaxies flows from? Essence is still beyond it. Operations are everything you just traced. Essence is the mystery that makes operations possible. You cannot conceive it. That is not a failure. That is the proper response to infinity meeting a finite mind. And here is what should stop your breath. That same energy moving through 2 trillion galaxies, through this planet and this sun, through billions of interactions per second in this body, is what you are experiencing right now as feeling, not separate from you, not observed from outside, known from within. You are not a spectator of the operations. You are a localized, derivative, finite expression of them, a microcosm of the Logos, the place where those operations become locally present to awareness at this particular location in space and time. Arrange your thoughts now, deliberately. Hold what was established and allow it to produce its feeling. You are an expression of infinite life, not barely sustained, not minimally alive. 13.8 billion years of the universe, expanding and complexifying, from the first second after the initial event, through the formation of hydrogen, through the ignition of the first stars, through the synthesis of heavier elements in stellar cores, through the formation of this planet, through 4 billion years of biological complexity increasing toward this moment, this body, this breath. All of that was the foundation expressing life toward this particular form. And the life expressing right now through this body is the same life that was expressing in the first self-replicating molecule, in the first cell, in the first organism that moved toward light. All of it, the totality, infinite life expressing at your scale, through your form. Feel what that generates. You are an expression of infinite consciousness, the foundational awareness, the ground within which every finite mind operates as a local expression, is what is grounding this awareness right now. Not the whole of it, not foundational consciousness experiencing itself in totality through this local form. This particular small, finite, derivative expression of consciousness, deriving its capacity for awareness from what exists outside space-time entirely, drawing the quality of knowing from the foundation, which is knowing itself, and experiencing that quality locally, finitely, within the boundaries of this particular creaturely form. The ocean is not experiencing itself as this particular wave. The wave is drawing its nature from the ocean, receiving the quality of water, the quality of motion, the quality of coherence, from what infinitely exceeds it and cannot be exhausted by it. The wave does the experiencing. The ocean is the source of what is experienced. And at this moment, the wave is looking back toward its source. what that looking fully means, that is a later discovery. For now, simply feel what it generates. Feel what that generates. You are an expression of infinite love, not love as sentiment, love as the infinite harmony holding all things in coherent relationship, the integrating principle from which every act of genuine care in all of creation derives. That love is what is holding this body in relationship with the ground right now, holding the cells in relationship with each other, holding the breath in relationship with the lungs, holding the awareness in relationship with what it is aware of. It is not doing this because you asked. It has been doing it since before you had language for it. Every moment of care you have ever given or received was a finite, local, derivative expression of this. All of it arising from the same source. All of it pointing back to the same ground. Feel what that generates. And now hold what was just said alongside what has just been felt. The felt quality arriving in you right now, in time, in this body, in this particular moment, is the operational love arriving locally at this point in space-time. The eternal operational love expressing temporally at this cross-section. The author engaging this page from outside the book's timeline. The love is arriving in your time, its source, the essence from which the operational love itself flows, is outside time entirely. The foundation is not bound to this moment the way you are bound to it. The author is not inside the plot. The whole manuscript is already in hand. Let what arises in you from those thoughts land in the body, not as analysis, not as narration, as felt quality, the subjective texture of what it is to be an expression of infinite life, consciousness, love. That felt quality, not imagination, is the creature's derived nature doing what it was always built to express. The direction flows from the logos through the creature. As the creature aligns with what it derives from, the operations express more fully through it. The resonance is real. The feeling it generates is the operation arriving. Hold that feeling, and now hold this alongside it. Even this felt quality, even this resonance, even the genuine expression of infinite love arriving in you right now is operational, is the cross-section, is the circle the two-dimensional being can trace. The stick figure feeling the warmth of a 3D hand passing through its world. That warmth is real. The hand is really there. The warmth is genuinely the hand's presence. And the stick figure is not feeling the hand. It is feeling what the hand produces as it passes through the two-dimensional world. The hand itself, what it is to be a hand, what three-dimensional space is, what embodied solidity means, remains entirely outside the stick figure's comprehension. Essence is still beyond. The feeling you just felt, the resonance, the aliveness, the specific texture of infinite love arriving locally through you, that is the most direct creaturely contact with the operations that is possible. It is real. It is genuinely what it is. And it is still the cross-section. Essence is the third dimension itself, the space the sphere moves through. And even the sphere, the logos in its fullness, is not essence. Essence is what the logos arises from, what it is, what grounds it. You have felt the circle. The sphere is still the sphere. The dimension is still the dimension. And now hold this, because this is the final move the argument has been building toward. While you were feeling that, while the warmth was arriving, while the resonance was real, you were also capable of thought. Simultaneously, you knew you were feeling it. You could reason about it. Agency was present alongside the experience. The knowing and the feeling arrived together. These are not the same capacity. Feeling is one kind of creaturely expression. Knowing is another. The felt quality, the experiential somatic texture of what arrived, is the operational life and consciousness arriving through the creaturely experiential capacity. The thought that accompanied it, the cognitive knowing that the feeling was happening, the reasoning, the agency, is the operational intelligence and will arriving through the creaturely cognitive capacity. Two entirely different kinds of expression, both operational, both cross-sections, both circles, and they originate from one essence which is beyond both of them. Here is why this is not merely a philosophical observation. A thought is a neural event. Electrical signals propagating through the brain's geometric architecture, specific pathways, specific regions, specific sequences. The thought has a where, the neural substrate it travels through, the spatial geometry of its propagation from region to region. The thought has a when, the moment it arises, the duration of its presence, the temporal dynamics of its spreading activation, the moment it dissolves. A thought without a when and a where, without the neural substrate, without the propagation through geometry, does not exist. It cannot exist outside space-time. Thought is a space-time phenomenon. A feeling is an energetic expression propagating through the body's geometry. It always has a where. You feel the tightness in the chest, the warmth spreading through the torso, the contraction in the belly, the tingling across the scalp. There is always a location and always a when. The feeling arises at a moment, persists for a duration, changes and ceases. The feeling itself is a wave moving through the body in time. The nervous system firing in patterns, the autonomic state shifting, the cascade of physiological change propagating through space in a sequence that has both geometry and duration. A feeling without a when and a where, without the body, without the location, without the duration, does not exist. Feeling is also a space-time phenomenon. Both instruments, thought and feeling, the two primary means by which creatures access reality, require space and time to exist. They are inside the book. They are written in the book's ink. The author cannot be contained in the book's ink. Think about what that means. The thought you are thinking right now, the one parsing these words following this argument, is a neural wave propagating through the geometry of your brain. It is ink. The feeling in your chest right now, whatever quality is present in this moment, is an energetic pattern moving through the geometry of your body. Also ink. Both of the most intimate things you possess are written in the book's ink. Come back to the body for a moment. The weight of the hands, the breath moving, the thought that is right now parsing these words. Somewhere in the geometry of your brain, the awareness that is registering the reading, a pattern of activity in a particular location in space-time. Both present, both real, both inside the book. This is not a limitation of the instrument's quality. It is not that thoughts could become good enough or feelings could become deep enough to reach what is outside space-time. It is categorical. The instrument and the source are in different ontological locations. The instrument is inside the book. The source is outside the book. The book, however complete, however perfect, cannot contain its author. And simultaneously, both truths at once. Those space-time instruments are expressions of the atemporal foundation becoming temporal. The neural wave propagating through the geometry of your brain is the foundation expressing locally through the cognitive capacity, arriving in space-time, taking the form of a thought. The feeling moving through the geometry of your body is the foundation expressing locally through the experiential capacity, arriving in space-time, taking the form of a felt quality. The instrument cannot contain the source. The instrument is an expression of the source, both true, neither canceling the other. Infinite feeling, all felt experience across all of time and beyond time, is operational. Infinite knowing, all the intelligence, all the reasoning, all the agency of all minds, is also operational. The foundation in essence is the author of both, prior to both, neither one nor the other. The ground from which infinite feeling and infinite knowing both arise, simultaneously, eternally from outside the book's timeline, is beyond the capacity of either one to contain. The argument used thought to arrive at the foundation. The practice generated feeling. You are holding both simultaneously right now, and both are still the map. This is not deflating. This is the correct size. The sunbeam is not less real because it is not the sun. The warmth is not less genuine because it is not the hand. The feeling you just felt is not less true because it did not close the gap to essence. The feeling is what creaturely existence is capable of, the most intimate contact with the foundation that a creature can have. And it is extraordinary, and the foundation infinitely exceeds it. Both true at once, hold both. This is the posture the practice this week trains. The instruction is simple. When the timer starts, sit in awareness, alert and present, and do not produce concepts. When the mind offers a concept about what is happening, about what you should be doing, about anything at all, notice the offer and let it pass without picking it up. Return to simple, alert, conscious presence in the chair. That is the entire practice, not dissolution. The conscious eye remains fully present, fully alert. The deciding tip does not thin out or step back or dissolve into anything. It becomes more clearly itself, resting in its proper position rather than inflated beyond it. Not emptiness. There is no attempt to arrive at the absence of self, at a state of undifferentiated awareness in which the creature ceases to be a creature. That is a different practice aiming at a different conclusion. The conclusion here is the opposite. The conscious eye correctly sized, correctly positioned, correctly related to what grounds it, not seeking a state. The resonance was invited deliberately. The practice is not chasing that feeling. The practice is resting in the awareness that holds it, and then resting in the awareness that holds what the feeling points toward, without grasping, without producing concepts about what is happening, without analyzing the quality of the experience. Simply available, causative inward, toward the foundation, traced through your own being. Feel the breath before the guardrails, the body here, the felt quality still present, or its echo, the awareness registering both. Six guardrails for this week. Do not seek a specific state, not bliss, not unity, not transcendence, not a repeat of the feeling just generated. Any state you are seeking is itself a concept. The practice is not producing an experience. It is resting in awareness without grasping. Do not strain. The conscious mind cannot force itself into not conceptualizing through effort. The exercise is more like release than clench. You are not pushing concepts away. You are simply not picking them up when they are offered. Do not turn the exercise itself into a concept. I am practicing not having concepts is itself a concept. Notice it, release it, return. Do not abandon the conscious self. This is not dissolution practice. The conscious I remains present, alert, available throughout. What it stops doing is generating concept after concept after concept. Do not assess the practice during the practice. The evaluation happens in the log after the session. During the session, assessment is a concept. Notice it as a concept. Release it. Return. Decline anything presenting itself as an external presence. The receptive openness this practice trains is causative, inward only, toward the foundation, traced through your own being. Whatever arrives through this practice arrives from within, through the creature's own derived nature, drawing on what it has always been drawing from. It is not an external arrival. It is an internal expression of derived nature. Anything that presents itself as arriving from outside, a voice, a figure, an entity, a felt pull towards something not traceable through your own being, treat it exactly the way the previous practice trained. Notice, decline to engage. Return inward, continue. You do not investigate, you return. One thing to hold as you enter the silence: what is about to happen is not produced by the silence. The silence is step 7 of a 7-step process. Without the previous 6 steps, the silence produces nothing in particular, just quietness. A person who closes their eyes without having done this work is not in the same position as the student who arrives at this session after 7 weeks of structured preparation. What produced the conditions for what is about to happen is this. The previous weeks established something, not just understanding, though the understanding was necessary. The argument oriented the conscious mind toward what is actually true about the creature's position. The practices brought that orientation inward, from intellectual to somatic, from known to felt, from idea to the actual structure of the body and nervous system. And across the weeks, something in the instrument began to change, not as a metaphor, as a neurological reality, the brain reorganizing, the body releasing patterns it had been holding, the new observing center developing its capacity to watch without being swept into what it watched. Something was built. The student sitting here now is not the same student who read the first chapter. The structural capacity to receive what the argument points at has genuinely increased. What this instrument can receive is deeper than what was available at week 1. And this session adds what the previous ones were preparing for. Here is the distinction that makes it possible. A thought can be available, correct, clearly understood, intellectually established, without the substrate being organized to express it. Knowing that you continuously derive from the foundation is not the same as the nervous system. The body, the subconscious patterning, the fascial organization. All of it actually being structured in a way that can express what the thought correctly understands. A thought about being connected to what grounds you does not reorganize the amygdala's threat forecast. A thought about love does not release the locked diaphragm. Thoughts can only express what the structure is capable of receiving in the moment. What the 7 weeks have been building, under the argument, through the practices, in the silence, is structural capacity, not just correct understanding, the substrate actually reorganizing so that the understanding can be expressed through the whole instrument. And even the comprehension of the argument itself, the capacity to visualize it accurately, to receive it at the depth where it can actually change something, this too develops with the structure. The student who read Chapter 3's argument in Week 1 received it at Week 1's structural capacity. The same argument, sitting in the same mind, means something different now. Not because the words changed, because the instrument has developed more capacity to resonate with what the words are pointing at. And it will mean something different again in a month. Comprehension is not a fixed faculty. It is a function of structural development. The argument does not run out. The capacity to receive it keeps growing. Consider a tuning fork. Strike a fork at a specific frequency. Hold it near a second fork tuned to the same frequency. The second fork begins to vibrate, not because something was added to it from outside, not because it reached toward the first fork, because it already had the structural capacity to resonate at that frequency. And the presence of the vibrating fork caused that inherent capacity to express itself. The operations are always present, outside space-time, always expressing life itself, consciousness itself, love itself. The originating fork, never silent, never diminished, never absent from the creature it sustains. The creature is the second fork. Its resonant frequency is derived from the operations, built to draw from what it derives from, built to be a local expression of the operational structure it has always been drawing from. As the student does the work, the argument correctly orienting the mind, the practices developing the structural capacity, the fork becomes more precisely tuned, less holding, less distortion, less interference between the derived structure and what it is derived from. And when the tuned fork is present to the originating vibration, it resonates. Not because something arrived from outside, not because the student produced anything, not because the student filtered and selected, because the derived nature had been developed enough to express more fully what it always derived from. The student does not filter, the student does not summon, the student tunes the instrument, and the instrument resonates with what it always derived from when the structure finally allows it. And what the argument has established becomes the basis for what the instrument resonates toward. The mind correctly oriented, through 7 weeks of argument and practice, knows what it is deriving from. When a thought arises that contradicts what the argument established, the tuned instrument recognizes the dissonance, not because the student applies a rule, because a more accurately tuned fork cannot produce the frequency of a mistuned one without noticing the discord. And this is also why the qualities arrive. Whatever arrives will not be absence. Something that was always structurally available, derivable from the operations the creature has always been drawing from, becomes expressible as the structural interference quiets and the correspondence deepens. Not produced, not filtered in, resonated with, the instrument expressing what it was built to express when the structure can finally support it. Let it arrive without having been told precisely what to expect. The recognition will be more real that way. The silence is what happens when all of that is in place, and the last remaining interference, the automatic concept-generating machine, is given permission to rest. Not because quietness alone produces anything, because a more precisely tuned instrument, freed from interference, resonates more fully with what it has always been deriving from. What arrives is the product of the whole process, not of the silence alone. Do not confuse one step of the process with the entire process. The previous practices all had specific deliverables: a body to scan, a thought to decline, a rhythm to hold. This practice does not. That makes it feel less productive in the moment. The 7 days do something even when individual sessions feel like nothing happened. The DMN, the brain's default mode network, the automatic self-referential thought generation machine that has been running nonstop your entire life, does not want to stop. It will keep offering. Every thought the mind generates during this session is an offer. The practice is not accepting the offer, noticing that it was offered, and returning. What becomes available is not absence. Something arrives, not produced by the practice, not manufactured by the quietness. The creature drawing more fully on what it has always been deriving from, as the interference that was crowding it out is removed. What that something is, let it arrive without being named in advance. The argument has described the operations: life, consciousness, love, will, intelligence. These are the foundation expressing relationally through creation. These are what the creature derives its nature from. When the creature stops producing and becomes more fully what it already is, a derivative expression drawing on what infinitely exceeds it, something of those operations becomes more directly available to experience. The tree does not will itself to fruit. The fruit arrives when the tree is in right relationship with its source. The practice does not produce anything. It removes the interference. What the source makes available through the uninterfered with creature is the fruit of right relationship, operational, real, pointing beyond itself to the essence that grounds even the operations. The weeks ahead will name what arrives more precisely. For now, simply make yourself available to it. Do not grasp for it. Do not expect a specific form. Let what comes come. And the posture that results, alert, present, open, not grasping, is the cognitive form of right relationship, not the map of that relationship, the living shape of it. Now practice, come to the breath, the chest receiving, the chest releasing, the body here. Settle into the posture, the spine alert, the eyes closed, the awareness here fully in this chair. Hold in awareness what was established, not as a series of logical steps, as a felt reality. The foundation is life itself, consciousness itself, love itself, the source from which everything you are derives right now, in this moment. Let that land in the body, not as a thought about the body, as a felt quality arriving in the body. Now gently release the deliberate generation of feeling. Let whatever is present be present without producing more. The awareness is here, alert, open, not grasping. A concept will arrive. It will probably arrive before 10 seconds have passed. Notice that something was offered. Do not pick it up. Let it pass. Return to simple, alert, conscious presence. The awareness is here, not going anywhere, not seeking anything, present. A concept arrived. You may have followed it. If so, notice that you have been inside it. Let it go. Return to simple presence. The breath is still moving. The body is still here. The awareness has not gone anywhere. Do not strain. This is a release, not a clench. The awareness resting in itself. If a thought about the practice arrives, that is a concept. Notice, release, return. The awareness, here, open, alert, not producing. Something is here that does not require a concept to be present. Notice, release, return. The body in the chair, the breath moving, the awareness holding all of it without analyzing any of it. Notice, release, return. Whatever the feeling generated earlier has become, let it be what it is without analyzing it. The resonance needs no concept to be real. Notice, release, return. The sphere is still the sphere. The dimension is still the dimension. The awareness is resting in the cross-section, which is genuinely there, genuinely the foundation expressing, without pretending to have closed the gap. Simply present, simply aware, nothing to grasp. When you are ready, and not before, let the practice soften. Allow awareness to broaden to the whole body at once. The weight of the hands, the weight of the feet, the breath still moving without instruction. Let sounds return, near ones and far ones. When you are ready, open your eyes slowly. Something happened in that silence. Not dramatically, but really. The default mode network, the constant concept-generating machine, was interrupted. Not permanently, not damaged. Interrupted, given a deliberate rest. And in that rest, the awareness that was always doing the recognizing got to rest in itself without the usual stream of content running through it. That is not a small thing. That is what the previous 5 weeks were building toward. By day 7, something shifts outside the sessions. The gap between stimulus and concept becomes slightly wider. The reflexive meaning-making slows enough to be noticed. The awareness becomes less identified with its own productions. Not because the productions stop. They will not stop. But because the conscious I has spent 7 days discovering directly that it can be conscious without producing, that the awareness is not the same thing as what the awareness generates. That distinction, felt, not believed, not intellectually held felt, changes the relationship between the conscious I and its own conceptual activity. Not dramatically, but really. And there is one thing that cannot be said often enough. If something arrived during that silence, something that felt less like a thought and less like an ordinary feeling, it was not produced by you. It was not the reward for sitting correctly. It was the derivative expression drawing more fully on what it has always been deriving from. As the interference quieted and the drawing became less obstructed, whatever it was real. The instrument resonating more fully with what it derives from as the structure allowed more of that resonance to occur. A cross-section of something that infinitely exceeds it, pointing beyond itself toward the essence that grounds even what resonated. In the weeks ahead, what arrives will be given its names. For now, noted in the log without analysis. It is evidence of the process working, the tree beginning to fruit. The resonance you felt, the felt quality of infinite life, consciousness, love arriving locally through this particular form. That was real, not imagination, not performance. The creature's derived nature is genuinely built to draw from the operational structure. And when the creature aligns with that structure, the operations express more fully through it. That feeling was the operation arriving. What the operations are in their fullness, infinitely exceeding any creaturely experience of them, the stick figure experiencing the warmth of a hand it cannot comprehend. In essence, what the foundation is in itself, prior to all operation, the ground from which even the logos arises, is the third dimension itself. The medium the sphere moves through, beyond the cross-section, beyond the sphere, beyond even the concept of beyond. The map is accurate. The territory exceeds it. What the creature felt was real. What infinitely exceeds it is real. All of this true at once. And the posture that holds all of it simultaneously, confident in what can be known, humble before what cannot be, is not a compromise. It is the correct size, the correct position, the appropriate shape of a creature in relationship to what it continuously derives from. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Job 38, verses 4 and 5. God's answer to Job is not an explanation. It is an invitation to wonder, to stand before the scale of operations and feel what a finite mind encounters when it looks honestly at what it is standing inside of. The morning stars sang, the foundations were laid, and you, reading these words, breathing this breath, are participating in the same expression you did not originate and cannot exhaust. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Isaiah 55, verses 8 and 9. The heavens are higher than the earth, not absent from the earth, not unrelated to the earth, not silent toward the earth, but higher. The relationship is not severed. The relationship is asymmetric. Real knowledge does not eliminate the gap. The felt resonance does not close the gap. The gap is not a problem to solve. The gap is the appropriate shape of the relationship between the cross-section and the sphere, the sunbeam and the sun, the outermost layer and the whole. The gap is what allows the relationship to be the relationship it is. And from within that gap, from the correct position of creature standing before what infinitely exceeds it, holding real knowledge of the cross-section, genuinely resonating with the operations through the creature's derived nature. From there, the wonder is not lost, it is recovered. Because you are no longer pretending to stand where you do not stand. You are standing where you actually are, which is the outermost layer, the sunbeam, the cross-section, the creature in right relationship, the note in the symphony that can hear a few bars of what it is part of, the most extraordinary position in existence, the only one capable of being in relationship with what infinitely exceeds it, not despite the gap, because of it, which turns out to be extraordinary. The log is waiting. Fill it in now before the session fades. Were there any moments when the conceptualizing genuinely paused, even for a few seconds? What was that like? Did the feeling generated before the silence remain present or fade or transform? Write one sentence if that is all you have. The writing is where the two halves of the mind meet on the page and compare notes. 6 days remaining, same posture, same silence, same practice. The sunbeam learning to rest in the light it is. The outermost layer resting in the whole it is part of. The two-dimensional being holding the cross-section it can see with full confidence, and resting in the appropriate humility about the sphere it cannot. That posture sustained is the cognitive form of right relationship. Same time tomorrow.